Bright Tuty. Every student matters.
Today we will start a new chapter, probability. Now this chapter is really important because you will study this chapter in class 10th, class 11th, some part of it you will study in class 11th and also in class 12th. And even if you keep the mathematics as your subject after that, this particular topic will be really useful after that also. Another thing about probability is that it is part of our general life. We talk about it every day, right? When we are, let us say, waiting at a railway platform for a particular train, then we will assume what kind of chances are there that this train will be late today, right? Now, how do we calculate those chances mathematically is what probability is all about, right? So we say that this particular train may be late today, right? Depending on our experience with that train, because the 10 last times it was late, so we assume that the chances are that this train will be late today. Okay. In other fields also, let us say, what is the chance that it will rain today? Now it depends whether in last year on this date it rained or not, or before that, right? So keeping the earlier trend in mind, we say that the chances are that it will rain today or not, right? So these chances, when calculated mathematically, are known as probability. So the chances of occurrence of an event calculated mathematically is the probability. Now the probability can be of broadly two types. One, experimental probability. This is what we will talk about in class 9th. Another type of probability can be theoretical probability, which we will talk about in higher classes. Experimental probability is also known as empirical probability, right? Now, what is experimental or empirical probability? Let us say you toss a coin, right? What are the possible outcomes? Either it will show you a head or tail, right? So if you toss the coin 10 times, how many times will it show head? Let us say you toss a coin 10 times, okay? It showed 4 times head on top and 6 times tail on top, right? Another student tossed a coin, let us say 20 times. It showed 9 times head on top and 11 times tail on top, right? Now what will this student think? That out of 10 times, 4 times I got head, right? So chances of head coming on top are 4 divided by 10. What is 4? 4 is the event that we are calculating our probability for. Okay, so we are calculating the probability or chances of head coming on top. So we will say 4 times it came head and I tossed the coin 10 times. So 4 out of 10 are the chances that head will come on top, and 6 out of 10 are the chances that tail will come on top. Now this student will say 9 out of 20 are the chances that head will come on top, 11 out of 20 are the chances that tail come on top. Now these two answers are different, right, of head coming on top. Why are they different? Because first, that these are two different students, two different situations, okay? And this student tossed the coins 10 times, this student tossed the coins 20 times. Now if there is some other student who tosses the coin 100 times, he might get 49 times, let us say, heads and 51 times tail on top. Okay. Now as you increase the number of times you perform this experiment, okay, this is an experiment that you are performing of tossing a coin, and the results, possible results are either head will come or tail will come, right? Now out of those possible results, if you increase the number of times you perform this experiment, let us say you perform this 1000 times or 10,000 times, you will observe that the chances are coming closer to half. Chances are coming closer to 1 by 2. Okay. So this is about experimental probability, that everybody who is performing the experiment might get a different answer, but as you perform the experiment more number of times, the result will come closer to a particular number, particular chance. Okay. And in this case, when we have got two events or two outcomes are there, either a head can come or tail can come, right? In this case, the chances are that the head will come 1 by 2 times, 1 out of 2 times, and tail will come 1 out of 2 times. This is what we call probability. So probability of this event, what event? In case of head, I will write probability of head is 1 by 2, and in case of tail, I will say probability of tail is 1 by 2, right? So this is true in case of when you throw a dice. When you throw a die, there are 6 possible outcomes, right? There are 6 possible outcomes. Either 1 can come, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6. Now, what is the chance that 1 will come when you throw a die? The chances are, now you will perform experiment to calculate these chances, right? So if you throw a die 100 times, right, and 1 comes on top, let us say 5 times. Now when you increase the number of throws or number of times you perform the experiment, the 1 will come on top 1 out of 6 times. The results of your experiment will come closer to 1 out of 6 times. Let us say you throw it 60 times or 600 times, let us say 100 times 1 will come on top, right? So as you increase the number of experiments, the probability or the chance will come closer to 1 by 6, because there are 6 outcomes and we are looking for one of these, and the die is symmetric all around, right? It is not biased. Because of its structure, it will not favor a particular outcome, right? Similar is the case with this coin, which is an unbiased coin. Unbiased coin. What do you mean by unbiased coin? That because of its shape, it will not favor a particular outcome, right? It may fall on either side, and the shape of coin will not bias the results. Okay. So this is about experimental probability, that probability of an event, probability of an event is number of times the event occurred divided by total number of times the experiment was performed. Right? Let us say you throw a coin 50 times. Okay? Out of these 50 times, you got 24 times head on top and 26 times tail on top. Now what will you say? Probability of head coming on top in the 51st toss. Okay, you know that out of last 50 times that you tossed the coin, 24 times it was head that came on top and 26 times it was tail that came on top. Now when you are performing this experiment 51st time, what will be the probability that head comes on top? Depending on your experience of these 50 experiments, you will say that 24 out of 50 times head comes on top. So 24 out of 50 will be the probability of head coming on top. Okay, this is how you will think about experimental or empirical probability, right? Now it is not the exact probability or exact calculation of probability. It is based on the experimental results, and it can be different for different students, different in different situations, right? So but in class 9th we will talk about experimental probability only. Then in class 10th or in higher classes we will talk about theoretical probability, and we will be really precise as we progress in our classes about the calculation of probability.